Hey guys, what's up? Last week on Friday, I put these Time Spiral Remastered draft boxes up on the Friday Seal deals, and the price had kind of gotten away from me. I hadn't looked at it in a long time. I was really surprised to see it had dropped this much because Time Spiral was notoriously underprinted and the distribution was completely bungled. And it was a very desirable product, and it has some really good cards in it, some really great foils, and very good product. Weird to see it come down this much, but I got a question in the comments about, is there inverted EV in this product now that it is so cheap? And of course, my initial gut reaction was probably not. And the reason for that is that alligator mouth that diverges over time. And so the bottom part is, of course, the expected value of the singles in a box were you to open the box and sell all the singles. And the top part is the current market price of the sealed box. And after a set goes out of print, those start to diverge. And the reason they do that is because eventually the sealed box itself becomes a desirable collector's item. While a box is still in print, nobody is really that interested in collecting the sealed boxes. They typically want the cards inside more than they want the sealed boxes. But after it goes out of print, the cards are still widely available. There will always be singles available for this set forever, but the number of sealed boxes will continue to only come down over time. And so that divergence means that on a product like this that's basically 2.5 years out of print, probably it's diverged enough that the sealed box is worth more keeping sealed than trying to open and sell singles. And so that was my initial reaction to the question. And I started looking and I started second guessing that and thinking, well, maybe there is some inverted EV on there. Is it enough to be worth opening? And so, of course, I come back over to mtgboxsim.com and I start generating boxes and just looking at what happens. And of course, you'll see these kind of very high price boxes, 307, and of course on the last screen you had seen that these boxes on TCG Player today are about $209. So wow, a box worth 307 and 565, a foil Chalice of the Void, and this is not even near the most expensive card in the set. And so you can see why you would think maybe there's some inverted EV in this product. And so I did what I did with Baldur's Gate draft boxes a couple weeks ago. I did a whole bunch of iterations in these. I only did about 57 boxes of each this time because the result was becoming clear, and I plugged them into the sheet. So of course we take a bunch of simulated randomly generated boxes with cards only worth over $1, and then a bunch with cards including all the cards of all values. And then we take the averages of both of those. The difference between those two averages is the average value of all the cards worth less than $1 in a box. We have to make some kind of assumption for what percentage of the value of those cards worth less than $1 we can capture through our sales, because generally when you open boxes and you go to sell them, it's not that hard to sell off all the cards, say, over $30. Those sell pretty quickly because they're over $30 because they are desirable cards. And likewise, as you continually step down in value, down to, say, $1 level, you'll sell most everything over $1 eventually. And then under $1, say, from 25 cents to $1, you'll sell quite a bit of that. But then you get down to cards, say, worth 10 cents, and, a lot of those are just never going to move. There are too many of them in the market and not enough demand for them. And so you won't capture all of the value of the cards worth less than $1. I've assumed 20%. I really have no good basis for this number, so I just kind of conservatively said less than 20%. I think it's probably actually higher because, again, most of those cards from, say, 25 cents to $1, you will eventually sell. Effective fee rate, this is my actual calculated effective fee rate as a very small seller on TCG Player. And then I said, what's the current box price on TCG? And this 209 was, well, it was the headline price of a couple days ago. So let's go ahead and plug that in with the new price. What do we have here? Well, we've got 209 and we've got a few. They go up to 220 pretty quickly. So, I'm going to leave that where it is. So what I did is I put in here $218, and assuming you're at the 3% subscriber level and you have a 1% cashback credit card. So that's eventually what you will end up with, is 209. And then the calculated EV of the box after fees, what I did is I took the average value of a box of all the cards only worth more than $1, and then that 20% of the value of the cards worth less than $1 that you expect to capture, and then I summed that up and I deducted 22% as fees, and I got 209. And from your 209.35 that you paid for the box, you would make 7 cents of profit on average. Not exactly great. Yeah, probably not worth the time. Return on invested capital rounds down to 0, which means as a business pursuit, it's probably not worth it. Now, if we just got a sudden normal 15% bonus buck sale, right now it would come down to this 183.45, and we could put that in there. Yeah, you make $26 per box. And again, some of the questions I got on this when I did the Baldur's Gate draft box version with this spreadsheet, one of the questions I got from a lot of people was, well, isn't that way too much work for a little bit of money? And again, that came down to how big of an operation are you? How much scale do you have? Because those things really matter. If you're sitting here and you have never sold singles before, and you're imagining buying one box of this and then buying envelopes and team bags and penny sleeves and shipping shields and stamps and creating a workflow and figuring out how to send the orders to your printer so it prints the customer's address directly on the envelope. Please, God, stop handwriting addresses on envelopes if you sell on TCG Player. If you're trying to figure all that out and you would imagine making $26 at the end, no, it's not worth your time. But, at the far other end of the spectrum, if you own a card store and you've got a robot and you've got employees and you've got a workflow and you've got 1 million cards in your inventory, a literal 1 million cards in your inventory already, then yeah, you might look at this and think, gee, if I could get 30, 40, 50 boxes at that price, add them into my inventory, slowly sell them off and make the profit on the long tail of sales of those cards, then yeah, it would be worth your while. So don't worry too much about that. Now, $25.97 per box. So, assuming you could pick up a bunch of these on a bonus buck sale, or maybe you have connections with other stores and you could buy them off of them at sweetheart prices, yeah, maybe it'd be worth it. But in general, no, it's not really worth it to buy Time Spiral Remastered boxes, break them up for singles, and sell them. If we got a bonus buck sale and you could get in there very quickly and snatch up those few boxes under $220, how many were there? Maybe there's 10. Yeah, maybe you could make a little bit of money on that if you are patient and willing to work hard and you already have established processes. Now, there is one more caveat on that will make it difficult, and it comes down to the actual cards in the set. And so this is a listing of all cards sorted high to low value. And of course, we see a number of cards at still very decent prices. And, if you sell singles on TCG Player, cards like these, they move really fast. Chalice of the Void and Gemstone Caverns and Yawgmoth and Damnation, really good cards that are desirable and have good prices. And so you can move these quickly, but that's a plus side to doing this. The downside is when we get into the variability of the foils. And whoa, when you look at the foil card values in this set, it makes double feature look tame in terms of the foil price multiplier. And of course, foil price multiplier, there's really no good way to say, foil always sells for 2 times the base card. Well, no, sometimes it sells for less than the base card. Sometimes it sells for ridiculously higher amounts. And double feature was one where it was ridiculously higher because there were not nearly as many foils printed for the set compared to base cards as there are for a normal set. And I don't know if that's specifically the case with this too, but when we go over and we start looking at foil card prices for some of these, it is unbelievable. And the thing you have to worry about, if you were to go out and say, let's say you could find 50 boxes at $209 of this and you were going to open them up. The problem is that average price that I used to calculate the value of opening boxes, that's based on some of these high value foils. And so if you don't get lucky on the foil hits, you can get skunked on the entire project and lose money. And that's the thing to really worry about when this kind of foil multiplier that's so high is present. So Chalice of the Void foil, $160. Thoughtseize, $250. Yawgmoth, $85. He was reprinted in Dominaria Remastered. That really tanked his value. Leyline, $80. Kiki-Jiki, $90. Elvish Mystic foil, $40. Who is buying that? But Ponder, $300 for a foil version, and it goes on and on like this. I mean, there's quite a few. There's several more pages, and this is not sorting absolute value. This, even though it says sorted high to low here, it's sorting high to low by market value of the underlying card, not by the foil market value. So there will be ones on latter pages that are actually higher prices than some of the foils here. But the thing to really think about, and to hopefully discourage you from trying to go out and gamble on these, even if you could get Time Spiral Remastered draft boxes at a really great price, is that if you get unlucky on the foil pools, it could turn out very badly. And so the variability of box values in this set is much higher than normal, much higher than a regular set, and it's because those foil multipliers are so high on all of those retro frame cards in the set. And so beyond the fact that, well, you know, you'd have to get on a bonus box sale, you'd have to be quick to the draw, you'd have to be buying a bunch of those boxes at the great prices, and there just aren't that many available at those prices. Well, you still, even if you were lucky on all of those things, you could still lose money because of the variability of the foils. So sadly, no, there's not a good amount of inverted EV in this. It's a very dangerous product. You'd probably straight up lose money, and even if you could buy a good quantity at a great price, you might still lose money on it. So stay away. Sorry. I wish there was money to be made on these. I mean, I love the set, and I'd love to open 20 or 30 boxes and sell the singles. That'd be fun. But sadly, there's no money in it. So sorry. Thanks for the question. It was a really great thing to identify and say, hey, maybe feels like there's inverted EV on there. Unfortunately not. So let me know what you think, guys. Thanks for everyone who makes this content possible, especially my supporters on Patreon. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and join me on Final Trade.